Hello friends, today we will learn about processes. What are the processes? Okay, so these are the best what we learn about processes in this chapter. Process concept, what is process scheduling, uh, what is operational process, what is inter-process communication, example of inter-process communication, communication in client server system, right? So the objective of this chapter is introducing the notion of a process, introducing various features of a process, scheduling of a process, or creation, termination, and communication in the process. To know about inter-process communication, to describe communication in client-server system. These are the objective of this chapter. So, what is process? Process is a program in execution. Means if we try to copy a program from a secondary memory and to the main memory, and it utilizes the CPU. If a program starts utilizing the CPU, then we call it the process. So what are the part of the process? What are the process? A process has some code, written code, which is text section. It can have program counter, which have the data of what is the state of the process and what process will start if this process terminates. There is a struct which contains temporary data. There are data section which contains global variable. Heap contains dynamically allocated data. So stack contains temporary data. Heap contains dynamically allocated data. So the difference between process and program is program remains in the disk or in the secondary memory or hard disk HDD. It may remain in HDD. It is passive entity. Passive entity means it is not executing now. And process is when a program starts executing, we call it process. So process is an active entity and program is an passive entity, right? We can execute a process using GUI or graphics user interface by clicking through mouse, or we can use command line interface, right? So this is the process in memory. This is stack, which contains temporary data. This is heap, which contains dynamically allocated data. There is data, which is there is global variables, which contains. There is text or written code. This is the process in a memory, right? What are the states of the process? A process can be new, means the process is being created now. A process is running means the instruction in that process is executing. A process is waiting inside the main memory for certain event to occur and it starts executing, right? A process is ready state means it is ready to be assigned to a processor so that it starts executing. A process is terminated means the process is finished its work or finished execution. This is terminated. These are the 5 states of a process: new, running, waiting, ready, terminated. If we try to see it pictorially, then it can be seen there in this way. A process is new. When we admit a process, it becomes ready. It goes to ready state. If we try to dispatch, make the ready process running, we will dispatch it. This is scheduler dispatch. A running process, if there is any event occurs that it becomes non-running, then we call it waiting. And if another process starts running, then the previous process goes to waiting process. Suppose a process is running and it wants to do an input-output operation, right? So it will not utilize the CPU, so it will become waiting state until the input-output event or input-output utilization completes. It will again go to ready state, and if the scheduler wants to dispatch it, then it will again go to running state. When a process is completed, it will exit and it will become terminated, right? The information, the main informations of the process is written in process control block. So process control block, what are in the process control block? The state of a process, it may be running, waiting. Program counter, it is the instruction if this process is terminated, or if this process go to waiting condition, then which process will start running next. For that we use program counter. CPU register, it uh, it uses that it has the data of all process sending registers, information of CPU scheduling like priorities or scheduling queue pointers, its memory management information, accounting information, input output status. These data are there in the process control block, right? Another name of process control block is task control block. Okay. Threads. Threads. What are threads? Threads. It can be said as a. We will learn about threads later. Okay. This is the representation of process in a Linux system. Process scheduling. So we try to maximize the CPU utilization, right? For maximizing CPU utilization, we use process scheduler, process scheduling. Process scheduling means which process will execute first and which process will execute next. This type of data we get from process scheduling. It means controlling the process in such a way that CPU utilization will be maximum, or optimizing CPU utilization. So here you can see that a queue in a process control in a scheduler, process scheduler. Okay. There are two types of scheduler: short-term scheduler and long-term scheduler. Short-term scheduler means CPU scheduler. It it selects which process should be executed next and allocates CPU. Right? For knowing which process will be executed next, we use short-term scheduler. For knowing which process should be brought into ready queue, we use long-term scheduler. Another name of short-term scheduler is CPU scheduler. Another name of long-term scheduler is job scheduler. Degree of multi-programming is controlled by long-term scheduler. Right? Process creation. There can be a process creation tree and process identifier, process identified and managed by process identifier. This is a process tree, right? We know that process is created by fork statement in Unix. In Windows, we use create process. Okay. These are the example of forking a process. This is example of create process in Windows. And for process terminating, we use exit command in Linux. In Windows, we call it exit process command. Okay. Inter-process communication means communication between two processes, different processes. For optimizing CPU utilization, there need to be communication between different processes. It is done by inter-process communication in operating system. There are two types of process. One is independent, one is cooperating. Independent process means the process cannot affect or be affected by the execution of another process. A process, if a process is not affected by execution of another process, then it is called independent. If a process is dependent on another process or affected by another process, it is called cooperating process. Okay. These are the different type of communication. What is synchronization? Blocking is considered synchronous. Blocking send means the sender is blocked until a message is received. Blocking receive means the receiver is blocked until a message is available. Yes, blocking receive. Okay. Listen, buffering IPC system, client server system, sockets. These are about sockets. These are about. Okay. Thank you for seeing this video.